Hey y'all, welcome back to our weekly video series where we talk about all things spiritual, energetic, and intuitive. I'm Peyton and I am joined by the ladies, Corey and Yaila. And today we are talking about Lightworkers and Starseeds. So have you ever wondered what these terms mean and how to tell if you might be one? We are going to help you out with that in today's video. But before we jump in, if you are new to our videos, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels so you don't miss our weekly video releases. We will be linking all of our contact info at the bottom of the screen throughout the video to help you connect with us. So today we are going to talk about a couple terms that get mentioned a lot in the spiritual community, but not everyone knows what these terms mean and how to tell the difference between a light worker and a starseed and how to tell if they are one. So Corey, I would like to start with you today. What do the terms light worker and starseed mean to you? How do you think about them and how do they come up in your practice?
Well, it's interesting. When I first started on this journey, I was looking at, oh, light worker, what's a light worker? Oh, what's a starseed? What's a starseed? Am I an indigo? Am I all those. And I know in my definition of a light worker is somebody who does work for the light and works with other people and helps them raise their vibration. And then when it comes to starseeds, this is where I've come in the Lightworker Starseeds is I know for me that I am part of the whole. I'm part of the whole. We are all in this together. I know that I live in the light. I help others to find their own light and their love for one another and to heal a lot of trauma. And so for me, the whole label of lightworker, starseed, indigo child, blah, 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 blah. For me, it just started to get, honestly, in the beginning, it was really exciting. It was very exciting to just explore all the possibilities and go, yeah, I have a little bit of that. Oh yeah, I resonate with that. And oh yeah, I definitely resonate with that. And I remember even sitting with you, Peyton, at one point in time, in the beginning of our journey going, yeah, I think I'm Pleiadian. I think I'm Pleiadian, And I just, after a while, it just made my head go, it's like, so much information. And so when somebody said, oh, I'm a light worker, oh, I'm a starseed, I'm like, I think that's great. And I often ask my clients, students, people, what does that mean for you? Because in turn, I end up learning what they think that definition is. But for me personally, is I think everybody gets to define themselves, but I think that we do get caught up in either being a light worker or starseed or this. And it feels to me, the energy always feels to me in separating. Okay, well, I'm this and you're that, and you're this and I'm that. And so I don't get into that a lot because it's a separation to me. So I do think it is fascinating, but we are all one on this planet. And we're all part of the creator who, of all that is. And so whether you're a light worker or whether you're a starseed or whether you're any of those others, we're still all part of the creator of all that is. And for me, I choose that, that frequency because I believe in us all sticking together and being together as opposed to being this or that. So that's what I think about it. How about you, Yaila?
As a joke. Thanks, Corey. So When I think of the terms Lightworker and Starseed, they're definitely newer terms that I've seen in the spiritual community just become more and more popular. And very similar to what you were saying, Corey, it feels like, people call themselves one versus the other. I've kind of felt an overlap between the two. And the way I personally would define a light worker is someone who is here to help raise the consciousness on the planet. They're in their own ascension journey. They are looking at their own places within themselves where they can shine more light. They can find more love, more forgiveness, more understanding, and also be more conscious of the beings on the planet. So human beings, the animals, the plants, in the theta healing process, there's a different consciousness on all different levels. So there's different planes of existence. And for me, a light worker is someone who is bringing awareness and consciousness to all those different planes of existence so we can integrate and heal, really be more one versus so separate, very similar to what you were saying, Corey. So for me, a light worker is someone who has a consciousness on all levels of planes of existence and really helps to be cohesive with those planes. To me, it always goes back to love, and love comes from source of all that is, creator, universe, God, whatever word you resonate with. I intertwine all of them. A star seed, if I were to separate the two definitions, a star seed is basically someone who's had recent past or parallel lives from different planets, different civilizations, not here on planet Earth. So there's different ones out there, Pleiadians, Octurians, Orion, there's all these different star seeds that have these different, again, ascended consciousness. So some of these planets, some of these civilizations have been around for millions of years longer than we have here on Earth. And so they've kind of had their ups and downs as far as their evolution and consciousness. We're here on Earth, we are still maybe learning some of those. And so some of these star seeds, in my opinion, or what I've noticed, is they're kind of coming from these other planets to help bring in that knowledge to help raise the consciousness. So you can actually be a star seed and a light worker at the same time. And I honestly feel many of us here especially in the spiritual community, or even attracted to the spiritual community, attracted to raising your consciousness, you have some level of light worker or star seed within you. Otherwise, it wouldn't even come into your awareness to want to learn more about it or be a part of it or discover more of that for yourself. I never really get hung up on words or titles, really. I feel like that can kind of box people in. And very similar to Corey, essentially we all do come from the creator. We've just had different experiences on a soul level from these different past lives, parallel lives. You can check out one of our previous videos on past lives, why I keep intertwining those two definitions as well. So for you watching, if you are curious, if you are a light worker or a star seed or both, I know for me, I definitely felt like I didn't belong here on the planet. I kind of felt like foreign compared to all the other people around me. There's some common traits that people tend to resonate with. So for one, I always kind of felt like I didn't belong. And I always felt a calling to really look at more of like the energetic or physical or metaphysical side of things. I was always attracted to understanding people more. I was always attracted to finding a common denominator between everybody, people on each side of the spectrum. I was always looking for how were we more alike than how were we different. And so I feel like light workers and star seeds generally tend to lean more towards love, lean more towards empowerment, lead more towards sovereignty in their own space, and letting other people follow those lines. Whatever that looks like for you, I feel like is different for each person, but there's some general commonalities within light workers and star seeds. And so again, I don't get hung up too much on the titles, but I really get hung up on how are we showing up in our life and with the lives of the people, beings, places around us. That's really, really where our work is most needed. But how about you, Peyton? Because you are the cosmic girl, so I know these are fun topics for you. I'm curious what you have to say.
This is one of my favorite topics, y'all. I could talk about this all day. But I share a lot of overlap with what you guys both, with what y'all both said. I always just kind of viewed a light worker as someone on their spiritual path, you know, and I love the way you described it, Corey, you know, someone who is, both of you described it as someone who is helping to raise their consciousness, the consciousness of the world, is here to bring love and light, tries to operate from love and light. I think light worker is a beautiful term to just capture someone who is living from their heart or trying to be a better person, to make the world a better place. To me, that makes you a light worker. But I see Starseeds as being kind of a subset of that. Because the way my guides, and I'm such the galactic girl, I love talking to all of these multidimensional beings and asking them all these questions. And so the way the Pleiadians have explained it to me is that a starseed is someone whose soul originates from another star system. And so a lot of humans, people being born into the earth life, their soul actually was born into the earth plane. So their soul is kind of from earth. Whereas a starseed is from one of these star races that is associated with earth throughout its evolution. And the guides generally tell us that there are 7 star systems that work most closely with earth, and that tend to send starseeds as volunteers to be incarnated on Earth during this time of ascension to help raise the vibration of the planet, to help Earth through the ascension process. And so, as Yaila mentioned, and that was a beautiful summary, some of the more common starseeds are probably the most common would be the Pleiadians. Everyone has heard of the Pleiadians. The Syrians are working very closely with us. They have worked with Earth through all of our galactic history, all of our Earth history. And so you see a lot of Syrian starseeds right now. And then the third most common is probably the Arcturians, who work most closely with healers, anyone who is very into healing modalities. That is something you see in a lot of Arcturian starseeds. But we do also have starseed representatives from the Orion system, the Lyran system, the Cassiopean system, and also Andromedans. Although you don't see quite as many of those because a lot of times those genetics are just not as good of a match for the human body. And so those starseeds can really struggle to be in physical bodies because it's just not a good match with our human DNA. So that's how the guides have kind of outlined it for me, just to kind of help me understand, because I work with so many starseeds. And one of the things that my clients want to know is, where is their soul from? Because it's kind of like knowing your ancestry or your genealogy. It helps you know kind of what the struggles were of your soul group, what some of the missions you might come in with, and it just helps you understand yourself a little bit better. So one thing that the guides have told some of my clients is that starseeds started coming to Earth in the 40s to actually help Earth through the ascension process. And it has increased over the decades. We have tons of starseeds coming to Earth right now, and starseeds are here to help Earth through the ascension process. They are here with very specific missions to help anchor light, anchor frequency, and just bring higher dimensional knowledge and information to Earth to support us and get us through this ascension process that we are in. So that is kind of the job of the starseed. So I loved how Yaila summarized like some of the traits that you can see in starseeds. And for the clients that I've worked with, I noticed 3 main traits in all of my starseed clients. So my starseed clients tend to always be intuitive and sensitive, because that is one of those side effects of the high vibration that the starseed holds. And starseeds also tend to, like you guys mentioned, not fit in. And I loved your description, Yaila, because starseeds report that across the board, feeling like they are the black sheep, like they don't fit into their family or friend group or really understand these humans at all. That is such a hallmark trait of the starseed. And then the final thing that almost every starseed seems to share is a sense of being here on a mission. And so starseeds come in with very specific soul missions, whether that is to anchor frequency and just hold a high vibration, whether it is to help repair the grid systems, to help stabilize the 5D grid and balance the grid system, or whether it is to bring healing and teaching modalities. Because as you guys mentioned, starseeds come from very advanced civilizations, like the Arcturians bring in incredible healing modalities and just new techniques. And so a lot of starseeds are drawn to these things that they bring with them from their soul. origin point. So that's one of the reasons that it's helpful to know your star lineage. Again, not to make you separate from anyone, but just to help you know yourself a little better. So if you want to know if you are a starseed, what the Pleiadians always say, sit in meditation and ask your higher self and your guides, because they will tell you where your soul is from, what your mission is here to do, and how you can most be of help to the humans that you are supporting through the ascension process. So that's kind of how I look at Lightworkers and Starseeds. I just think it's a fun way to know ourselves a little better, know what some of our struggles are and what some of our gifts are as well. Kind of like knowing your family, you know, it just helps to kind of know where you come from. So anyway, it's such a fun topic. I could go into galactic history for hours and hours, but I will spare y'all and cut it off there. So how do you guys see this coming up in your practices? Do you see clients like being interested in this, or is this just something that you just more hear people talking, using the terms to kind of help figure themselves out?
I see both, you know, as far as like people are hearing the terms, they talk about it, but I also see it, especially in students coming in, you know, now that I'm teaching people how to read and understand and heal energy for themselves and for others, it really is that them wanting to find that home within themselves. And then, you know, as like a light worker or starseed, it kind of makes sense when you're able to play with these different energies. And I love that. Go into meditation and ask yourself, your higher self, your guides, even if you're still building that relationship, as far as like, where do I come from? What do I resonate with? I know, you know, very similar to what you were saying, Peyton, Pleiadians are, you know, a star group that I definitely resonate with. It's always kind of been a term that I was attracted to. And when I heard about their civilization, it really resonates with a lot of what I've learned about them. So I definitely see it in a lot of people on their ascension process. And again, it's like people who haven't always felt like they fit in, you know, they are energetically sensitive. I love those three categories that you just laid out of like, they don't always feel like they fit in. They feel like they're different from like their friends, their family, their community. They are really sensitive to energy. They're trying to understand what energy is for themselves. And then they are on a mission. You know, I know for myself, I could be a millionaire right now and I would still be doing the work that I'm doing, because it's not about the money for me. It's really about, there is a reason why I feel like I'm here, and it's really to find the others who are on a similar mission. So I see it both, you know, people are attracted to the word, but more so as students, you know, clients are kind of attracted by the term, but students for sure are really wanting to, they resonate with it. You, Corey.
Yeah, you know what, I agree with you, Yaila. It is more with the students, because they're, you know, they're on the beginning of that path, and they do want to find out where they belong. So I find that I agree with you. You know, that the students are oftentimes the ones that, you know, have you heard of Starseeds, or have you heard of Lightworkers? You know, what is it? You know, and I always find that it's I just, you know, when Peyton, when you talk about, you know, the galactics, you know, it gets me excited. It does. I mean, I always love hearing you talk about the galactics, and to see the joy, you know, in you and talking about that. And I get that same joy when it comes to starseeds and light workers, and just watching the light come on, which is, I mean, that's what I live for, you know, is to watch that light come on, and that childlike wonder, you know, of students, and, you know, clients too. Sometimes I do have clients, you know, that are in the beginning of their journey, come and ask about those things. And, you know, whatever you can find that you resonate with, you know, whatever you find that you resonate. I find that, you know, I resonate with a little bit of all of it, you know. Yes, I'm sensitive. Yes, I've always been the black sheep. Always been the black sheep. You know, I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. You know, I've always managed to fit in for a little while, but still felt very alone in those areas. So I always find that you know, it's a little here and a little there, and it's absolutely fascinating. It really is. And that's why I'm grateful that I have, you know, like you, Peyton, you love it. So when I ever want any of the answers, I now have a group of ladies and people that I can go to and ask when I don't know. And that's the wonderful thing. I don't have to have all the answers. But I love how you said, you know, ask your higher self, you know, what is my lineage, you know, and Lord knows I've done that myself as well. And I mean, I love the Palladians too. You know, I do have this Palladian guy that is just lovely. Just love him. And so, and that might change and it might morph into something else. And that's what's wonderful about this work is it does change. You know, we learn so much, never bored at all. So, you know, for a year or two, you could be a starseed. Then maybe, you know, you want to be, you know, yeah, I don't like limitations. Can you tell?
No, really? Shocker. You know, one thing I love about this is seeing clients take parts of their personality that they always viewed as being a weakness. They always felt bad that they felt like an outsider. They always felt self-conscious that they were sensitive. It's driving them crazy that they feel like there's something they're supposed to be doing, but they can't remember what it is. And when you can help them take those things that used to be insecurities and show them that not only is it their gift, but it's their soul's mission, you really see people, like you said, Corey, the light goes on. They start to connect with their soul. And all of a sudden, that sensitivity that was always their Achilles heel is now their superpower. And so I think that's one of the reasons that if you're interested in star ancestry and you start to know this and you start to learn kind of, you know, some of the particular traits of your star race, it can help you turn things that you think are weaknesses into your biggest gifts. And that's what I love seeing in my clients is that turnaround. When you're like, all of a sudden, this thing you beat yourself up about your entire life now is what sets you apart. And so that's one of the things I love seeing. And I'm seeing some of my advanced clients now, they're starting to be more aware of these energies coming in to work with them. So they're starting to be aware that all of a sudden, they're not just working with their guides, but that they have Arcturian healers working with them. And it gives me such joy to see that level of advanced energy work when our clients start to be able to have that level of, we talk about discernment all the time. And so to me, it just takes us to the next level in our understanding and seeing our clients grow, because that's a high level of energy reading when you can determine something like that. So I find people are having a lot of fun with it. It's kind of like knowing your zodiac sign now. It's like, oh, what's your starseed race?
I love that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. See, now it's all different for me now. Wow, I need to find out what my starseed race is.
I love it.
I love that. That's great.
I will say too, because I keep hearing the term like the black sheep of the family passed around, and I always joked, I'm like, well, I'm kind of the white sheep of the black sheep family, like my whole family. Because the typical term is like, you know, the black sheep was the wild one, the outcast, you know, the one that was different. You know, in my family, my mom, my stepdad, my brother, you're kind of wild. And here I was like the good one. And like, you know, not that my parents and my family is not good, but I definitely was different from my family. So I jokingly, lovingly say, well, I'm like the white sheep of the black sheep family, meaning like when I think of white, it's like light. I'm like the light sheep of the, the family, the earthly family.
I love that. That's going to be my new expression. I'm the white sheep of the family.
I'm the white sheep of the black sheep family.
That's such a great way to look at it.
I love it.
You gotta have fun with it.
You gotta flip it around.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, guys, I hope this has helped you understand a little bit better the difference between Lightworkers and Starseeds and how it can be helpful and relevant in your spiritual journey. As always, if you want to know more, check in with yourself. That's what the guides always say. The answer is within. So we hope you enjoyed this video. We have enjoyed making it. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button. And we always appreciate your comments, your likes, your shares, and any topic suggestions that you have. We are here for you. We will see you next time. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.